Mahle, Marley Jacob here, Hot Seat, Free Swaziland Movement. It's a Saturday today, and I have a very, very important guest that everybody knows in Swaziland and all the Swazis who are abroad. I've got Mr. Monte Mandla Ngosi, and we will be discussing the dialogue and Mswati's visit to New York. Mswati's on his way to New York tonight, or I'm not sure when. So we will talk about that, and we'll also talk about the way forward. So, Mr. Monte Ngosi, could you quickly greet the Swazis?
Sanibonani Maswati Mahle. Yeah, mfana Nkosi yanivusela la.
Right, Mr. Monte Ngosi, I know you're busy, but asesikhuluma ngesituation yasekhaya. Kunesikhalo lesifakwe eMaswati, angathi safakwa ngubani? Lesihamba umhlaba wonke ukuthi eMaswati asafuna idialogue. Ngicela uchazele eMaswati ukuthi idialogue uyifuna makwende njani? Do you think eMaswati idialogue atayithola na? And do you think it's a way forward? Ukuthi utawucela umumvu ukuthi akukhulule? Is that forceful? Is that reality? Do you think eMaswati are serious about ukufuna idialogue? Is that weakness or strength? What do you think about that?
Yeah. Ingosi eMaswati alahlwa. eMaswati alahlwa ngilabaholi. Lokucela idialogue. Ngoba aba-understand ukuthi i-dialogue icelwa ngibani nakunjani. Sengichaza amahlandla lamaningi ukuthi i-dialogue icelwa, angisibona babuka le South Africa ukuthi kwaba ne-dialogue. Manje bacabanga ukuthi kena lapha kangwani. Kufuna kube ne-dialogue that will sort the problem. But what they don't understand is that the dialogue icelwa ngilaba labagcilati under pressure nase babona ukuthi bayacwila, then bese bayicela ke le dialogue njengamabhunu eSouth Africa sabashaya ngema-sanctions across the globe, aqala la-America kwase kungena i-European Union, kwangena even other Asian countries, bafaka ema-sanctions, banklinywa vele kwathiwa abana khona kuphuma eSouth Africa bavakashela lamave boNgilandi bo-United States, all over Europe. They could not travel in Ncumbi yalamabhunu. They were sanctioned from those countries. And then too, kwakhokho lama-business eSouth Africa, angithi Ncumbi yama-business eSouth Africa vele ala American companies netingapho nase-Europe boNgilandi. Those are the people who have invested heavily in South Africa. So now abana baphuma labantu babona ukuthi hey saphela, because now once unklinyela umnotho kwabona lelikhiki bese liyabhoboka. So babona ukuthi hayi no, it's time for negotiation. Ibangasakhona vele kuphefumula, bangasakhona ikhamba baye emaveni, uyabona. Cabanga nje na uhlele eveni lakho njengama-causative ungasakhona iphuma kangwani ngoba sakufuna yonke lenzawo umhlaba wonke, uyabona ke nayo le pressure efunekako. I-dialogue ayicelwa ngilabagcilatekile, i-dialogue icelwa ngilom lomgcilati under pressure. So eMaswati kusete le pressure layifakile. Ngachaza mina ngathi kwalama-senator la-America asamtsheleli ma-causative, wangena ambassador lapha Makila James wabachazela. And she's considered an expert on Swaziland because she was there on the ground in Swaziland. Anhle nimbona ngena nje enkantolo. So bokamcinzetela vele ama-causative. But ke eMaswati they don't follow through. Ngaphiza ngachaza ngathi ambassador ma-America wanibuta. How are you going to run the country? How are you going to run the government? Basho lambi kwama-causative khona lapha eveni lakhe. Lokho kusho ukuthi bayabona bathi lo mvuvele uphethe kabi lelive. Manje yini ke alternative? eMaswati yini vele let me select kuyenda. How are they going to run the country? Kube nje namtshela nathi GNU sesihlangene sibumbene singeMaswati, you would have seen more pressure. Ngoba tawutshela lo Mswati ukuthi eMaswati bathi sebacela ukuphathela lo hulumende wabo. That is the distinction. That is the difference manje Maswati angathi ukuthi mina tafika amtsheleni makhosetive uyambona lo muntu ukuthi unemandla and uphethe onke lama branches of government and Maswati ayamesaba lo muntu ngimalo lo tafika akhulume lapha akhulume namakhosetive.
So yeah, Monte, when you say eMaswati they don't follow through, eMaswati do not follow through, what do you mean by that?
Mina ngacela ngathi ngicela eMaswati ahlanganise delegation ngicela ngacela iGNU ngathi emva kweGNU bese ke sihlanganisa i-delegation letawuta la formally icele i-formal complaint ifake i-formal complaint la nase-European Union kubatshela ukuthi sebekunene nathi letimvo latendile ibe formal because what happens mase nifike ni-delegation lendvo ngoba America they don't know what's going on in Swaziland. You see, only the lawmakers know. But Congress were Mohamjuyat, so bona bayat, but bona they respond to public pressure. Masan figure delegation la, seni formal Congress, and it's publicized across the country, and it's inside the civil rights communities. La joba saying in South Africa, since the civil rights community, Bala. Those are the people who spearheaded the movement, the Free South Africa movement. Bebangayati nabi South Africa. Sabafunzisa. By bringing bo ANC, bebafika la bato present. By connecting the civil rights community. Now, bahle behla la bayale South Africa, boti bonere. That is how the pressure mounted. That is how Umhlaba realized what was going on in South Africa.
Right.
Nala ma camera, loku recorder, babone mabhunu adubla labantu. All those things created the pressure kula mabhulu. Ngisho belungu laba angasithandzi kahle abantu abamnyama, they jumped on board. Ngoba bona they were embarrassed ukuthi hawu labantu badubula ngisho bantu. So that's how you do it.
Right. So
yabona batamona nje Mswati ajikjele amabhomu la kule bus. Yabona imvu lengentiwe. Babona lamasotsha ashaya abafati, adosa abafati la tindlini abashaya. You come here as a delegation and then you present those clips. Ngoba phela lemvu nayo sengene bo CNN, sengene bo BBC. Umhlaba wonke uyayibona. Nyalo there's a small segment of the population lebathi ukusikwele kani bamba kangwane. Ngoba imvu lokufanele ucabange ukuthi umhlaba unetinkinga tawo jikelele. I-Africa nje alone by itself. Kunabantu abaphila bo 1 million people. So iSwaziland ngeke ize be priority unless thina we make ourselves available. Joba and Makila James, or if I can say the Senate and the Congress, but respond. Bamchela Makositive, good to watching you. You see? So if a Maswati let's see unified. One, we can raise the money, not only at home, but here. There are other civil rights organizations that will sponsor once they know and fully understand what's going on in Swaziland. They will take the money and sponsor Swazis. The Congress itself, kunemali Congress for such things. Bumayan manje nabafika ba president Congress. I-Congress ifake imali ukuthi betela. So eMaswati aphokubuta ukuthi sitayithatha le mali. They don't understand. Ukuthi le mali itawuqhamuka not only kula Maswati la donatako. Itawuphinza iqhamuke ngala. Nabo somabhizinisi lekhaya nasibabona ukuthi ha labantu bahamba ba-America ba-serious. Bakhona labaningi abasupport umzabalazo akangwane. Ngoba lo makhosetive ulwa nabo kwabona uyababangisa lamabhizinisi. Labanye nje uthi amfafaka ibhizinisi yakhe lapha asuyayifuna makhosetive ale makhosetive ufika afake la next door acompete nalowo somabhizinisi. Manje kwabona bacinzetelekile. So you have to be strategic in this movement. Ngambona nje IB uhambile waya e-ICC. Instead ukuthi etela ngoba laba ba-action laba. Once wafaka le pressure, the American public is aware what is going on in Swaziland. Then bona ifaka pressure kulabo congressmen wabo. That is how it works here. Manje Maswati vele I know they don't understand how America operates. That's why ukuthi oil kangwane. In America they will never be involved. No, there are many countries where they've been involved. Buke Mayani, Banane Mayani, they've nothing. So Buga hate, there's nothing. So you must understand. Kubenje IP, the Mali, the Hambengale, it could have been used to come here with a delegation. I'm not going to say United Nations. I'm not going to say United Nations because we know those people are useless. They've shown us over and over. United Nations fully aware what's going on in Swaziland, but they've got too many challenges in their hands. You see, they're thinking Africa.
So, Mr.
Not
Nkosi,
only Africa, mhlaba wonke.
So, Mota, what you're saying is the delegation, during that presentation, why do we need someone to bring forth the story and present the case as Eswatini? Why is it important?
Because now it becomes part of the US Congress agenda. It's on file, it's on record, and they have to vote on it. You see, if you bring injustices, you bring all these things, but then it means the public knows, the American public knows, because it will be publicized. It goes to Spain, goes to CNN, goes to BBC. A group of Swazis delegation, they're in the United States Congress, they're in Senate. It become a big story.
Right. So Lemvule Guanyalo, because it hasn't been formally presented, it's like it's not known as
Exactly.
overseas. Because if it's not written down, it did not happen.
That's
exist. The policy.
Yeah.
If it's not on paper, it did not happen. No matter when they get about Bonil, but because Agabala I'm getting my records when the representation what type agending. So that's what they need to understand, especially my leaders. If I did not present a case,
yes,
but Facebook, but
it does not exist.
I think comrade IB will mean and then yes. Then by reference on that. Because my journals, my articles, and anything, look, in reference to this, blah, 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 when they look, because right now,
and then not only is it a record, they will vote on it. They will vote, and then they will issue what they're going to do. They can pass an act, and they will work with their counterparts, the European Union, and they will start to sanction him. Coca-Cola, those companies that they've heavily invested in America, they will pull out. You see, they will threaten him. We're going to pull out if you don't make these XYZ changes.
Just like in Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe is still under sanctions.
Yeah, that is how these people operate. You must understand, yeah, there are things that they make on their own glamour committees, but they're people-driven agendas. So America masa asho ukuthi hey, niyabona sikwendeka kangwane. Mine, I want to see changes in Swaziland. Besingadi. That is what happened in South Africa. Wasukuma yonke le America. Yonke.
So Mr. Nkosi, in other words, how many people would a delegation consist of? Is it 5 people? Is it 6 people? What would you call a proper delegation that would come and do my presentation?
Yeah, because what you want a delegation. They're speaking with one voice. So you're gonna want a Swazi from each political organization, right? And then you want to bring another one who comes from the Council of Churches. You want another one. You're gonna want a women's organization. So basically, you want to show these are all Swazis. You bring someone from civil society. You bring someone from Mosnat, the big, very, very powerful organizations inside Swaziland. So you don't make it just a political party thing. You make it a national issue. You bring Bafundisi, you pick 1 or 2, you bring Teachers Association, you bring someone from the Nurses Association, you bring someone from the unions, and you bring someone from civil society. We have a
yeah, and the pride community as well.
Yeah, because what it does, exactly. This is what they want to see. It's okay, these people are united. So
Mr. Nkosi, we've seen unity is a problem, and I've heard Comrade IB stress on the unity, and I think you have stressed on it. And as Free Swaziland movement, we have stressed on the unity. So unity of purpose. I know you've mentioned something. What do you mean by unity of purpose?
Unity of purpose. We're fighting for one thing. We're saying what is happening in this country is wrong. So we are all coming together to say this is wrong and we want changes. The whole society, that is how you're going to put pressure on Mapositive. Because Nyalo, he's thriving on these divisions. Yabona nakulokuthola emva divide and conquer. Lokuthi nilwe nodwa. Ngoba nemhlaba uyabuka ukuthi hayi labantu abasiredi. Lo mbasada nje ubuta ngaleso sizathu lethu. Ngoba uyabona usemaswati no. Asengefikile lizinga lekukhuluma with one voice. Ukuthi mbama bafuna ngemaswati. Because ngaqhamuka lapha, and the reason she responded like that, ngaqhamuka 10,000. That has never been done in the history of Swaziland. Loko kukhomba ukuthi okay, labantu ba serious. But
Right.
again, nasa buta lokuthi okay, nyaniva. Nithi ndaliphatha njani le live. Behluleka kuphendula.
So that's the follow-up that you like.
That is the follow-up.
We have a problem.
They don't understand. They don't understand the bumbana, but the unity is strength and power. Because let government, it will never happen like that. You see? Nabo kawuzela ngabe kawuzela naye akafuni ukusebenzisana nabantu nalamanye amaqembu. Then we're not going anywhere. So you keep spinning wheels ngale ndlela le.
But what I can on that note, there's a huge division between Iswalimo and Pudemo, and like you just said, it has cost us a lot, and a lot of people have put in so much. And lenza by Pudemo, because I'm sure Iswalimo is perfect, according to other people. But lenga division, sibonile na online, Facebook, Pudemo. Yendiwa njani put them, or not only put them because it's never NNLC now was joining put them na lamanye maphat. Do you really think lama leaders like Hona Manj, they will bring us to democracy? They will take Swaziland to the new democratic country? Will they be able to bring us forward? I'm talking about the leaders. Do you think these leaders are really doing a good job? Do you think we should get rid of them and get new leaders? Because we've got a lot of young people who are coming up who have a voice and who have direction and who know what they want, especially the young people, because this is their future. So what do we do with these leaders who are sitting there, making sure nothing moves forward? You put them, for instance, and we've got a journalist who's working really, really hard to make sure what's net division. Sibenda njani labomkhulu be-democracy labangasi productive. What do you think we can do about that? What can they do?
No, like Fanabak understand. Mswati looks stronger by the day. The more they do that, they look stronger that day. Umbuka nje wenda lo mfu uqedza kubulala abantu lapha. Bese semcinzekele lo muntu internationally. But they fail to follow through. You see? Nyalo Mswati so ubuyile ngamandla. Ushaya 55 ngoba uyabona ukuthi so sinqobile. So kufuna Maswati understand ukuthi we are going to conquer this thing united. They're not going to take us anywhere. Mswati has got the ammunition. It's escalating as well in weapon and ammunition. So look at it. You see, even people who are peaceful demonstrating. And the reason it gets away with it, because we have not formally presented the cases in the countries that matter, that have the power to apply against him. The two biggest nations that subsidize him, United States and European Union. And
Right.
once you get those on board, South Africa, they will apply pressure on South Africa.
Definitely.
Because they're closer. In fact, in Malula. But it's two things. We need to unite, all of us, and speak with one voice. The diverse cross-section of Swazi society, which is what I call the GNU. You see, put them somehow miraculously. Then, if maybe you had a military structure and you want to coup him and you recruit in Masocha internally, then possibly. But you don't have the ammunition, you don't have the arms, and you're going against Mswati who has the sophisticated weaponry and ammunition. So what's the So, but what will happen? It will happen eventually. What it will take, Joba and Mswati, 55. I'm school them a police esibhedlela. Ku team it's esibhedlela. Banvana bethu mfunza at university. bogogo nabomkhulu abaholi on a regular basis. So vele tawuhamba kuhambe Maswati, they will get to what is going on. The Maswati, they're getting poorer and poorer and poorer. There comes a point, as we've seen in other countries, there comes a point of no return. When abantu kuphela lokwesaba, they will face you. Just as South Africa, there was a point where they realized ukuthi that's not choice la. Bantwana bangena ngisho bantwana besikole bangena bashoot. And they were shooting them. And those footages were beamed across the globe. So at some point there would be a point of no return.
But
as long as ubabona nje basaya kubo emhlangeni, basaya kubo 55, you see. So it still has the upper hand. Ngoba unale mali.
Mr. Ngozi, when it comes to the leadership, because do you think, the question is, do you think we need new leaders in these parties? For instance, we've got Mlungisi Makhanya and then we've got Mandla Hlatswago. These two my leaders, but then I don't see Mandla Hlatswago anymore. I'm not sure what's really happening. Because the leadership, my bolile, because it's they put demo, they they are babies, they shouldn't be part and parcel of a democracy. No, but these guys, these leaders are spoiling this for us. They're not but sesikhathi singamboni Mlungisi akhuluma ba united, because if Mlungisi ahluleka ba united ukukhuluma namanye ama leaders, siyahluleka kubona ama leaders ahleli kanye akhombisa a form of unison. It's a problem. We need to see bonke bosicelo ngometulu nabo bonke, because sekune MSF bahlangene bahleli bakhuluma ngelikusasa leMaswati. Hayi lokuthi bamvunyalo bayashayana kwendeka so iphudemo this asiyaya hashtag this and this and this and this. And you've got Mamba, who is a graduate, who's done ulofunze Harvard University, but the stuff that he writes is really, really, appalling. And we are mangala ukuthi how ufunze Harvard. I know it wasn't that for a whole year, but then you expect a maturity and you expect some leadership and someone to understand how important unity is. So then you ask yourself, is education really important or not? What's really going on? Because unavelaphi mam, unamlungisi Makhanya, bayahluleka angazi ngaba yile lento ukuthi bona bangahlangani eswalini, because kude kulomcoba kulama leaders lawo. So mina lama leaders iphute iqhubeke imina leader le so. That's just the question. But it's people who are asking these questions. It's not me. People are asking, ukuthi kungenteka yini iphudemo kushintshe leadership, because kubahluleka unite nalamanye ema parts.
It's a good idea that's needed. They need reforms kuphudemo. The reason bangamfuni Mandla Hlatswayo, he is about building, nation building. You see, a lot of these young guys who phudemo babuka lemveni in South Africa. They want to play ANC in South Africa. This is why Bomlungisi bakhuluma ngabo phudemo-led government, because that's how they're thinking. Most of them very materialistic, bovelaphi bonke. So info yabo is about eating. Umbona nje velaphi alapha epalace yamakhosetive, smiling broadly. And the other thing I noticed, makafika la ku memorial yaThulani, ngasukuma mina ngakhuluma ngathi kufuneka ama-target sanctions on King Mswati. Wangawuphosa mina, that's not what's needed. What's involved bayifuna kubona dialogue. Ngabona ukuthi lo mvu lona definitely influenced bacabanga ukuthi bona the other share power naMswati, or somehow miraculous Mswati nakawa kutawungena bona esibhedlela. Now abona nje bagijima baya eNamibia babuthene bodwa. It was not a diversified group, but they are going to have talks in Namibia. That was a very deeply troubling sign for me. And then
now we've got the lawyer Mgometulu, who's
Pudemo.
So and now they've gone back to MSF, which is not a problem. But do you think MSF will deliver this time? Because Ipudemo, Maswati ayakhala ngePudemo. Maswati akusho mina nithi akubukele imputo yephudemo ukuthi iphudemo itawendiwa njani, ngoba iyehluleka utehlisa yehluleka acabangele amaswati ngendlela lababuta ngayo amaswati athi imile nje iphudemo ayendi lutho. So the leadership yephudemo, over to you, Mr. Ngosi. I've said a lot.
Yeah, njengoba ngisho mina, one, they're not going to reform as an organization because they're selfish driven. If you don't have the people's interest at heart, ngeke vele, ngeke bahlangana, ngeke choose ama leaders la njengabo Mandla Dlatshwayo. Ngoba Mandla Dlatshwayo ufuna le coalition, ufuna ukuthi sihlangane. Le MSF yinvo yephudemo vele, yinvo yabo lebayiskimile, and they bring a few others, they drag others like Bosibongile Mazibuko who are easily influenced by ababoni mhlambe le agenda yephudemo. So that is not true unity. It's a front. So if iphudemo is serious about inkululeko yamaswati, they need to understand the common destiny and the unity of purpose. Other than that, if they're not prepared to understand that and to understand that this battle must be fought on the international front as well as domestically. Because SADC, like I said, Bangan Bamswat, EAU, they're useless. EUN, they've got too much on their hands. So, in America are the quickest people who are going to apply pressure on this guy. The European Union, but the formal presentation.
Do you think, Mr. Ngosi, iphudemo should be left out? Ngoba if ubuka iphudemo, most of them, they know about the GNU, they know about a 5-point based plan or manifesto, I don't know what it is, where they talk about the transitional government or interim government. They know about it. And, we've got lawyers, most of them are very educated. It's not good to be they're not educated. But there seems like, people are saying there seems like there's a game that they're playing. But missing a mabom level because Batete and Namtandeni are in prison. And apparently, Mabu vote, I suppose, civil and President Gauzera, but MP Batete and Namtandeni, they went and they voted in prison, meaning they support the fighting from within. And then you've got Phudemo, who is not supporting anything except they are opposing. So, CT nile Phudemo, because if we buga imsebenzi yePhudemo, mawibuga, I see le mihle kakhulu. Emaswati yini la file ayende ngana iPhudemo ngoba angeke sicambe manga ina 40 years they've got roots and they've established themselves. But let's say Phudemo was not there.
Yeah.
Do you think Swalimo and all the other parties would work together in unison? Because Swazis are complaining. Again, I'm repeating, viewers. They're complaining about the Phudemo. And Makaya needs to come out and tell them Maswati when they give up. I started communicating with Maswati. I know ukuthi Gauzela bayamhleka ukuthi uba nema meetings, family meetings. But perhaps Phudemo should do the same thing so that we understand where they stand and who they're with. You've got a lot of things that they're doing. You can see it on social media that are not for the Swazi people. Like you've just mentioned, they went to what country? Lesotho, and they are requesting dialogue. Who sent them? Who told Bovela Pimamba with Emaswata Funi dialogue? Jengobushilo Monte wati dialogue ayifunwa ngulolo gcila twabo. Ifunwa ngulolo gcila
under pressure.
Under pressure. Exactly. But Nyalos Nenginga a unit. And we all Maswati know and have noticed what the Phudemo is a problem.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that they're saying. So kumqoka ukuthi Phudemo iphumele ngephandle yeke pretenda ngathi akwadiwa kwesikwendana ikitichaze yente na ama family meetings bona bangabita something else because they seem to be much better than anybody else and they know and really tell us what's going on and stop doing things behind Emaswati. If you're going to lead people, Emaswati afuna kuba involved. Iphudemo ayingabagijimeli phambili. So I don't know whether you want to touch up again on that.
Yeah, I mean, all I can tell Iphudemo, they must look at the writings of Mandla Dlatshwayo. Mandla Dlatshwayo is the only one that I see as focused and understanding good unity is key. And he also talks about the future Swaziland. He's one of the few I've heard him talk about the future Swaziland. We must, because Swaziland now is a very corrupt society. Everybody is going for theirs. Everybody is trying to associate with Makostive ukuthi adle nje. So usho ukuthi le culture sayonakele. So Mandla Shwayo, what I like about him, he understands it's not only just about freedom. It's about creating a society, a just, fair, equitable society in Swaziland. Kuthi lonke eliswati liphile kahle la vele. Kuthi lonke eliswati libe ne-opportunity.
Sorry, multi-just, fair,
Yes.
and equality or equitable.
Equitable.
Yeah.
That's
what do you mean? Because we've seen, I'm going to be on Mlungis's case today because I saw one of his houses that was burnt. It's such a big place. And then you're like, it's a palace. It's not even a palace. It's like this Godlo in Khanza. Yeah. I think Zuma had the same thing. So when you talk about that, do you think Ipudemo will be able to lead abandele fairness, good distributor, wealth?
No. They are highly materialistic. Look at their lifestyles. That's when I realized this guy is just on his own mission. A poser in front of swimming pools. You'll never see a true revolutionary flaunting his wealth, sitting in front of swimming pools, bringing all these young Putemo boys to his mansion and showing off that he's doing this and that for them, which is why they vote for him, because Yabatsenga Labafan.
So on that note, because there were elections between Mandla Hlajago and
he does this boys favors, you see. He throws them crumbs. Yeah, he invites them for Christmas parties in his mansion in South Africa, where you see him posing in front of his swimming pool. So Velenje, the Putemo is no longer the old Putemo. This is now a corrupt, materialistic Putemo. They are out to eat, and they're looking at their friends, their role models in South Africa, who are eating left, right, and center.
Yeah, on that note, there was a birthday party for, I think it's Wandile Lula, I think he's the vice, and he took a picture with another lady. I looked at the picture, I zoomed it in. What I saw there was, I think, almost 100, maybe 50 bottles of wine.
Yeah.
Right behind them. I've got the picture I can show you.
That is
bottles
what they're about.
Of wine. And you're looking at, because we've got people who are in exile in South Africa who don't even have money for rent. Yeah. And then you've got people celebrating birthdays. We're not saying people should not celebrate birthday, but it's very important for leaders to start collect accommodation, data, why do we see leaders like I think in one Lulu, bottles of wine? I have the picture, it's on Facebook. I think it's about 50 bottles of wine. Do you know what I mean? And I looked at it and I'm like, this is terrible. This is not good leadership.
This is what they're about. These young Democrats, they've moved far away. ANC, remember the original ANC where they started? They were about it. But this new ANC, these young boys, they're about corruption, they're about looting, they're about stealing, they're about all for themselves. It's no longer about the people of South Africa. They're not doing anything about educating the young black South Africans. They're not really doing enough, even about housing. When you look at the agenda, they're buying cars, they're buying mansions, they're traveling overseas with their girlfriends, with their wives.
Yeah. Mr. Kosi, now, Ipudemo is not a good sign. I saw the wines, I've seen the dining, I've seen the seafood, I've seen the pictures that they
extravagant.
take.
Yeah, extravagance. I mean, even if like to give an example, America, I mean, I worked for the Democratic Party. When we do our campaigns, we do staging locations, which is in who has a nice big house. We don't rent. This is expensive, which is the same thing I was telling about IP. We don't rent this huge expensive and order, all these top meals and all, because the money must go to the intended purposes, which is the electorate, the people. So what we do, people bring fruits, people bring drinks, people can bring bottles of wines, but you spend your own money. So we're not using party funds to party, which is what I see about ANC Bagwen. So here in America, we don't party. You go to a political campaign, or Jerry Connell is my congressman. We are speed, CLA, but people have contributed. Companies have contributed. That's the money, not the donations of the people. So that is the
ngoba what you see is a lot of lavish life, and like I said, we have people who are in exile. We know people who are in exile, but I'm not even sure we even support people because ipudemo ibhizi iyafista iyadla into lekukhangayo kunebantu labahambile labadzela impilo tabo bathi balandzela ini democracy, and kunema leaders lahleli kamnanzi lahleli kamnanzi langanandzaba ukuthi emaswati lamanye akuphi irent ayithatha kuphi idata ayithatha kuphi ababantu nokuthi babobani labakhona eSwatini labase-South Africa. So lemvo lena I think Maswati sesinginibutele lo mbuto wepudemo sazama kuyidiscussa because ngine leyifuna le ndaba yepudemo, and naloku sifuna ukuthi le pudemo yafomishwa ngubani, who owns it, ngoba if you have a party like this that is so stagnant, that is like standing in the middle of the road and not moving and not ingasi productive, it's a problem. Njengoba bakhala abantu Montelana le mibuto le nibutwa ngeMaswati ukuthi bacela i-new leadership, bacela ubuso lobusho, because this leadership lekhona abayiboni ibamnikisa kule promised land labayifunako. And
it has taken them over 30 years. It will take them another 30 years if they conduct themselves in this way. But if that's what they want, as long as they collect my donations, then that's what it is. So, but there's going to come a time where Labaswat, Jobangsham, there's going to be a point of no return. There's going to be a point of no return where Maswati, I mean, I'm getting thousands and thousands of requests, and I tell them, hey, looking guys, I've got my own family, now I've got my own challenges here sometimes, and I've got bills, I've got children, I pay child support. So, $2,900, that's all I can afford. And I'm on to a point where I cannot even do that anymore.
We're doing. We have ever since we've been giving and giving and giving.
Yeah,
and
we don't invest of Swaziland. And you want to like case genuine. You want to
exactly.
Who call and invest of Swaziland? You see, at the challenge my pass. And I was just like, I was touched. Because someone from go my exam. He is who mend the stipends. So bahlala ngama students ama stipends kuthi umfana nje akhwele bus awufika exam room awubhali exam. So ngayithumela ngathi ayikethikuthini, this is wrong.
No, Monte, I know what we've been giving ever since.
Oh yeah, we've done a lot.
That's why we are pushing.
We've paid rent for people.
We've done there's not going. So ngiko thina sineke push siyekele push amaswati ngoba lama messages eswatfolako ekucela nelisito everything esitfolako sicabangelanini. Thina asidingi kahle kahle ukuyenda lama messages la ngenawo letikhalo tenu, and masibona ema leaders la njengabo Phudemo bahleli banatha tshwala bentwana bakhuluphele if Maswati unever ngifuna ngingaboyivotela umflo okhuluphele akasiyo ileader uma nje umfana sisilesikulu asangenile njengalabo MP lestabafaka nyalo le district ikhulu asifuni ukudibona because umuntu onesisikhulu kusho wona ukuthi akasebenzi uhleli uyadla ngoba konke lokudla lokufanele ngabunika abantu kungena la siswini sakhe njengamswati nebafati bakhe labanetisileti khulu labagcwele masimba la siswini. So asibafuni bo MP labaneti issue letinkulu, sifuna abantu abasilenda nabasebendayo day and night labantu abasebenzele eMaswati. Nisavota nje eMaswati lamaviki latako asakuthi kunini nivotele bantu labangeke babe netiseti khulu, and you hold those people accountable because you cannot have a fat leader. Kusho the leader lady idla kuqala before labanye bantu. Leadership is a job, and lokuba MP is a job. So if it's nama leaders la netiseti khulu and the tisleti khulu, that cannot be a leader, because the person, you can tell by the mere looking at the person ukuthi akakucabangeli wena angathola kudla uthi gimme kudla yena kuqala, by the time aqeda when you've got nothing left. So stop voting for belly political leaders. It's really, really wrong. And so ngilongo nje Monte ukuthi okay eMaswati akhala ngephudemo ayakhala ngephudemo.
Yeah, unfortunately, to be honest with you, my assessment Phudemo, they are going to continue doing the same thing. They are not going to change because somehow they believe if somehow miraculously Mswati awala dawuthathabo, and it's not going to play out like that. You see. And if they want true democracy, nas level the playing field. So and we come forward as a group. How are we going to go about. Njenge-Freedom Charter, ANC, we need a document that we've created all together as Swazis, which is a roadmap. So lo mbasada la ngabuda ngabe sathi caba. Naku lesikufuna ukuthi nesingemaswati sibumbene sonke singemaswati sihlanganise le document sisodwa. That document will challenge King Mswati's constitution and the way he's governing the country. This is what he's doing. So we're going to do this.
And then how can the Freedom Charter be drafted if people wanted dialogue? It's like
exactly.
the way this thing looks. It's like if bovelaphi nabo mlungisi nabo sibongile mazibuko basifuna dialogue. It's like I think it's very funny njengoba usho ukuthi nguwe ogcinzetelekile so wena uyicela njani dialogue umlobulela umfana wakho. What do you do with the person obulele? Do you arrest the person or you ask uhamba ukhuluma nawe so ngicela ukukhuluma nawe ukuthi ubulele umfana wami? I think umthatha umixe stocksini bese dialogue utawena kuphi ecourt. But why must I understand ngiyalo bacede namthandeni abakabulala imuntu bacede namthandeni nabo commander nalabo bomkhondo 3 but basestocksini yini mapositive angakayendi dialogue. So velaphi uyithathaphi lemvo ye dialogue mlungisi uyithathaphi lemvo ye dialogue sibongile mazibuko baye understand ukuthi yini lokuncenga nibangelwa yini ukuthi nini ema leaders nifune thina sincenge mapositive ukuthi asinike lonke kwethu.
And futhi ngeke zekwendeke njengoba ngihlale ngibatshela mina labanye ngisola ukuthi babhadelwe mina ngiyena lo mapositive. The thing is that there is no oppressor, especially an abusive oppressor like King Mswati, who will voluntarily give up absolute power. He will not do that.
Monte, on that note, can you say that ngicela ukukhuluma ngeSwati level le because bomake sibongile batokuva what you call velaphi mlungisi makhanya
kude umgcilati lo njengamakhosetives mhlaba wonke jikelele lo wase wasithathana nangemandla nganingi kuthi utawuhlala amakhosetives uthi sicela ukuthi sishare power or sicela naku kuthi utawuvuma amakhosetives athi okay na ithathani ngiyanika because inyalo angithudla nebantu abakhe Mswati phela is short-sighted and is selfish. So lokubona konje namhla kudla yena ngeke ke bese sokuhleplela wona emandla kuthi naku ngiyakuhleplela emandla asiphathe lelive sobabili songala singemaswati siphathe lelive. It's not going to happen.
So you take it by force, you don't beg.
So you have to apply pressure. Apply pressure kufuna ufake emandla. And the way ngoba thina siyakuthi makhositive ungetulu uphethe ema-courts uphethe all 3 branches of government kufuna ukuthi
Mr. Ngosi, can you just don't you think because what other Swazis are saying Ngosi, the dialogue is a delay strategy and it seems like makhositive as nguye suggesta le dialogue and yet they because babambelele because good umlongaboni kusinimve dialogue I see that awusebenza and it's like push dialogue and you've mentioned ukuthi suspect ukuthi makhositive ubadala the president yase Namibia le dialogue baye understand yini lava
makhositive kudela ngambadala nabafana ANC yababadala you see ngisho political campaigns ase South Africa makhositive yayifaka imali ku-ANC bangani bakhe ukhona mina malume wami lowangilanza ngemnyonyovu wathi mandla uyazi ukuthi ngithengele ubani lekari. I knew before he even answered. I knew thengwe ngumswati so he buys some cars, he buys some gifts and they are also in business together.
So are you saying ukuthi ipudemo uyibhadele we've got Zweli Martin who people are suggesting a lot of people have pointed out Zweli Martin paper like support makhositive recently they're not sure whether he did it in the past or he's doing it now. So if makhositive akhona kubhadala ama president so mawubuka bomlungisi nepudemo that's small.
Ngiyamsola naye Zweli angithi njengalo ufake article kuthi akasakhona ifake ama articles ku Facebook you see akasakhona njani kuthi basabuka lokuthi yini angasakhona ukubhala ngoba bekabhala very intensely ngamakhositive akhokha onke lama secrets nyala na ubuka ama articles akhe atheka lapha bokawuzela you see they are more intense ngelo asa weak ngala kumswati asa strong ngala kulapha so ngiyamsola vele naye ukuthi ngathi le genge iphudemo vele is problematic.
Yeah, because kusho emaswati asho njalo makasende ama message ukuthi the journalist Zwelimathi Dlamini iSwaziland News ayisekho ku-democracy seyikakhulu ngale ebukhosini and they're suspecting ukuthi Makhosetive is now running the page indirect. So it's a very interesting.
Yes, angithiwasho nje ukuthi vele yena ngamanje hlela inkosi lapha esihlalweni.
Oh yes.
So uyabona nje tonke le thimba labatinayo nalomlungisi usangena aphuma kuyabona la hayi labantu laba bathengisile umzabalazo. So nalokho waphethe le dialogue nje mona baqinisa kuyo ukuthi kube enye alternative. Akubethe enye alternative.
Nalokucela ukuthi ngicela i-dialogue. Uyicela njani i-dialogue kumuntu lobulele bamvu? Makhosetive akabulali bamvu yini? Ngoba according to bona even iphudemo iyakho simakhosetive ubulele bamvu. Umuvu angabulala umfana wakho ucela i-dialogue na. Umuvu angagcinzetela ucela i-dialogue na. Ngoba i-dialogue ita after mhlawumbe manende ikhu or whatsoever akusi imvulo icelako and uyicela kumuntu lokwatiko ukuthi he's willing to talk to you. It's been how many years bamele i-dialogue?
Eish. Ngawatshela mina from the get go isaqala lento ngathi labantu laba kusho abayathi lento abayathi politics labantu ngathi mina there will be no dialogue in Swaziland. I-dialogue lena ithola sibaya. That's it. Ngokuqala Makhosetive une pride. Ngeke nje asihlale namaswati. Kuthi nini nifunani? Ngoba utatsi nje anihloniphi inkosi nini. You see, anihloniphi ingizo leli vele inkosi leli. Nawe ungafuni iphuma uhambe. Makhosetive is very consistent. Uthi bonke lokhu laveni ngekwakhe. You see, buka noshaya 55 yonke le mali le yemaswati. Khona umlweni esibinzi kude amaphilisi esibhedlela kude kudla tetigulane kude ngisho imbhedza kulethi ngebhedlela balala phasi. You see, ma-students a-university kude ngisho ini kusho ama-stipend kude ama-stipend kude imali ekubasitha la esikolweni umfundzanti
kude ngisho i-Wi-Fi monto kude ngisho i-Wi-Fi esikoleni kunangako ama-computer nje lesela lomahasha banangako ama-computer lomahasha primary school or lomahasha high school or khona le alobamba or khona lela you know mangaya banangaki letikola leto lobamba Swazi national. What is it? Because ngibone nini ngendlela abaphusha ngayo i-culture Makhosetive songeniswe sona mkhuba ufanda abantu labaphusha i-culture bavunise bantwana etikolweni. Bawucabanga le culture itabafundzisa labantwana batathola i-scholarship ngale culture yini yona le culture kwenzekani ngale culture lese bayifaka ngenkani eSwatini.
Angithumvile nabanzile nje ukuthi akugcokele inangu i-traditional attire emaswati akavunule on Fridays all the schools awucabangi nje. So vele nje indzaba kabi ngwane ebuhlungu manje ngalokuthi amaswati akabumbani singayincoba lento nasingabumbana sonke singemaswati bese silanza umhlaba manje ke labanye babhekele. You see,
Mr. Nkosi, what makes you think? I know this is quite sort of like a personal question. What makes you think? What is stopping from these leaders from coming together, performing EGNU or delegation, and why? It's not because they don't listen to you. We know they listen to you day and night. They know what you say. They know what you stand for. And we've seen Zwelimathi has never written about EGNU. I don't recall Zwelimathi promoting EGNU. Lenginga iguphi.
Yeah, inkinga yalapha ngwane njengoba ngisho ngile selfishness and greed icabanga ukuthi kutawungena bona. And mase ngibuka ngithi okay, it's two things. It's either benefit kwanyalo le demand ma donations and all those monies. So bona as long as baphila kamnanzi, they are willing to prolong the situation. Two, babuke ukuthi no nakawa lo mswati kutawungena bona. So they don't want to share with anybody. They don't want a united front. Because
there's a third one, Mr. Nkosi, or Makhosetive is paying.
Okay, or Makhosetive, exactly. All of the above. So those three main things, I think these people banga shangan because it benefits them in the interim. Abanenza. Bamama mabayifunda ngule kwanyalo ngoba badla kahle. Bacabanga ukuthi it's a bigger hurdle lokuthi sihlangane sonke singemaswati. It's a job phela vele. And two, angisinisa bakhombisa nje imayana. Hey bahambile labantu laba. Sebaze bamkhulile ngisho lo president. So i-GNU beyitabakhulula bacede namthandeni. You see? Because the international community will not accept it. When it's on record nyalo, on the desk as a Congress, kutsikunema MPs who were democratically elected under monarchical democracy yakhe lo makhositi. So uphinza uboshwa nguye. You see, they would never allow
So, Mr. Nkosi, don't you think Bobacete Namthandeni being in prison not only is it beneficial for Makoseti, we've got leaders who are benefiting from having these guys behind bars.
Yeah.
Because if you really want to, the unity, the lack of working together shows number one. And you know, you have what the actually GNU, it will keep about threatening Namthandeni, political active prisoners. What the actually logo as a leader. As a leader, onke my leaders, both Bongle Mazibu, Bomlungisi, Boz, Weli Martin, Bom, Gometulu, Bonke Bayat, i-GNU itawukhipha inyona lengafaka i-pressure if itosebenza kahle because ukhumbule ukuthi ifanele isebenze akusindi ukuthi kuthiwa kuformsha i-GNU. There's a lot of work that is involved day and night where people have to plan and strategize ukuthi senda kanjani siloba kuphi sikhuluma kuphi senda kanjani. It's a big job. So lokuthi labantu bangabuva buhlungu ukuthi bacede Namthandeni sistoksini ngase baya-benefit because understand because ungahlulwa i-unity 1.something million population eseswatini bahluleka, they cannot come together banyanya gawuzela this gawuzela umfana gawuzela this gawuzela, you know,
the kunye phela what happened is Swaziland was moved by the three. Sifika nje la sifike khona kuthi uMswati adubulela amaswati abulele over 100 people lenza baqalwa ngabo eparliament bafuqa. So Bapu demo, they don't want to be outdone. Because for 30 years, there was no movement, no true ground swelling movement. Laba, they were able to create a movement at the grassroots level that rose up. You see? My petition. You see what I'm saying? So part of it is the jealousy. Ngoba vele batibona put them led government. Manje sebaqhamuka ke laba. And they're coming from the inside the parliament. Ngoba bangayifuni parliament because there will be other people going to parliament, other rising stars. So abafuni ukuthi kungenela abanye le parliament batawukhulumela amaswati.
So kahle kahle I-put demo is enemy masi analyze asisho enemy progress ne democracy ne freedom emaswati ngoba uma uthi wena abantu abangangeni eParliament phela idemocracy kungena kwebantu eParliament is part and parcel ukuthi abantu bavotele bangene eParliament baphele kuphikisana nokuthi
even if it's part of the system ngoba lokho futhi we calling the bluff umswati ukuthi bantu hayi bavota la we have monarchical democracy abavotelwe labantu bangena lapha eParliament bafuqa
njengabacede Namthandeni labafuqa.
Yes. Because if it didn't matter if umswati bangayisabile revolution ngababekho ejele abakekho Gawuzela in exile, those are the people who almost got us into a complete revolution.
But then you're looking at it almost because we had Janice Tolo who almost we had, I think Janice Tolo was one of the closest that I can recall, and then now you've got Bacete Namthandeni and Gawuzela, then the two who are in prison almost. So who will remove this regime, because we need someone who will.
Yeah, that's why a solution must come also from outside. In South Africa, the pressure came from outside. If you only do one thing, protest, and that's
the thing, because
we can't do the same thing for 30 years. Doing the same thing for 30 years has not worked. So you have to think outside the box, which is what when I came up with this GNU. GNU. It must not now cook a delegation and show him. Already the verified 4 senators came forward and say, hey, Mswat, you need to do what Swazi's want. They want a dialogue. And
so Mr. Nkosi, Sister Val, kulama 4 senators. To follow up. I know you spoke about this.
They need to come here with the delegation so that they put them on record to pass an act in Congress. That is what needs. That's what it needs. Once an act is passed, they're gonna follow. And Angsa Buga, the Anti-Apartheid Act of 1986, it is Saishala. He lists the EMA companies that they must withdraw. Nobody should travel. Be allowed to travel to Europe or United States. Even universities, colleges, but they were not able to come here and study. Many ways. Good mass sporting events because we are better to perform in South Africa. My musicians go better to perform in South Africa.
I remember, yeah.
And yeah, and all the apartheid government, my investments are going under Logomapun, but they withdraw.
So yeah, so
Congo landed in Swaziland because they withdrew from South Africa.
So labanye bathi okay, my sanctions adoinda ukuthi safarishe the people.
We have to sacrifice, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's the same argument they made in South Africa, but it worked. Because already we're suffering. Don't let it up and so what's the point? You know, they're already suffering.
So do you think Velapi is coming from the fact that he doesn't want to go through with suffering? Because if he's going to if they're pushing it dialogue, but that's not action. Dialogue is not action. It's not going to solve the issue. It's a form of laziness and delaying. I don't even know what it's called. I think it's laziness. Dialogue. It's very lazy and very
and it's clear that there's nothing's going to come.
Yeah, they don't want to do anything. It's like, okay, we want to talk to him.
No, I was shocked. Guvavela on stage. That's infinite dialogue.
So it's a lazy.
What do you mean infinite dialogue? Itawenda dialogue. Itawenda dialogue. Then I'm supposed to talk Vumela now. We'll share power. That's not going to happen. So let dialogue yani. Nakawuzela ngambuta mina ngathi sochaza ukuthi le dialogue utawufika uthini lapha. Utawufika uthini lapha kumswati. And but they don't even have preconditions. Ukuthi release all political prisoners. All exiles must return. Dawushaya dialogue kanjani. And you don't even have a composed team that is going to represent all Swazis, which must be diverse and a cross section of Swazi society. I put them. So until you understand Laoma steps, then it's out to do. Those who dialogue with us, they don't confusion.
He actually on the Observer, the dialogue will take place. Like you said, who's going to represent the Swazi people? Where is it going to take place? And what are they going to say?
No, it's going to be spy.
Yeah. Anyway, Mr. Ngosi Monte, I know you want to be the president in the future, and most Swazis will freak out because you want to do that, but then nothing can stop anybody from wanting to be a leader or anything. What do you have to say?
I am about uplift because I've seen it being done. I gave the example of Namibia. They knew Gutsi beef production is a way in Namibia. It's an agricultural-based economy, like all other economies, mostly in Southern Africa, actually all over Africa. Now there are 4 out of 5 Namibians. Their income comes from beef production, and they're exporting to the United States. They're exporting to European Union. They're exporting to China, creating jobs. And they're doing 2 things, which I think is very, very, very smart and strategic. They make sure the beef yabo is clean. I know steroids, it's clean beef. Ulmende was in Namibia invested in the local communities, which is what we need in Swaziland.
Can I just say something? Do you know Gusima Kosadiv? Apparently, Shakantu. This obviously Shakantu is the king. King of Swaziland and Shakantu are the kings of Swaziland.
One and the same thing. Yeah,
it's one and the same thing.
Zambian.
The Zambian guy. And he's now opening a factory. I think you saw HH go to Swaziland. They're taking over the beef. There's a beef factory in Swaziland, and they've taken over it. And I think I've heard in the past, HH is a farmer and he's a beef. He's got a lot of cows.
So, that's how he became a multimillionaire.
Yeah, and that is now a business. Makosativa, I think they're sharing now. HH now. What's his name?
Shakant.
Shakantu, and they're actually firing the old staff to get new staff because it's a new, and they don't. They're not going to give the money. They're just firing them. Like, go. We're starting a new company, and Shakantu wants to take over. So actually, Shakantu's boasting about taking over Swaziland. And he calls Makhosetive a very stupid man. You only invo Makhosetive uyinike Shakantu. And Shakantu says he can take the country in 2 seconds to transfer all the money. And, you know, Iswatini honor Zambia, in other words. Did you know that?
Yeah, unfortunately, the thing is that Mswati is short-sighted. You must take care of the Swazis. You must invest in Swazis. In Namibia. Namibia is thriving and growing by leaps and bounds. Because what it does, it uplifts the standard of living of each and every Namibian. And each and every Namibian has a fair shot at life. So, Baba nika le mali, bathenge le tinkomo and Baba subsidize la farm inputs. And then uyabhadala kancane kancane ekhulumende le mali bakunike yona. Ukuthi uthenge tinkomo, timbuti, ufuye. So, and then they organize the markets for them. So the money goes back into the economy. It circulates into the economy. So I'm suggesting that we don't have enough income coming into the country. Let's depend on customs union. So it's a short-term thinking, because it does not understand economics. In monopoly, it shrinks the economy and eventually kills the economy, which is what has happened in a lot of African countries. Now, you kill business. You make everything expensive.
Because what they're doing, they're removing people from the land and they're selling. Shakantu is removing people from the land and taking the land. And and then basathe tinkomo bathi mixe Makhosetive bathathe tinkomo atithengise phindze kube beef.
Yeah, Nkosi yami. Manje inkinga nayo, i-problem yabo is this. You need a customer base. The maswat nasaphuye mbamba. Angisabona nje bo Kentucky Fried Chicken. They're not making money. That ithatha Makhosetive. But Kentucky Fried Chicken, lama malls akhe, they are empty. So eventually everything will run dry. Because if 50% of the country is out of work, they don't have jobs. And it's going to increase and increase. So where will the customer base come from?
They don't have disposable income. There's no money, and then they're building these expensive hotels, and they don't understand because you build something according to le mali le okay, can they afford this? But Makhosetive he lives in his own shell with a big cake. Did you see that big cake?
Makhosetive lives in a bubble. And because it's not educated, it does not understand how you grow an economy and extend and expand.
Perhaps that's why he's got Shakantu, because you know Shakantu is the second king. Basically Shakantu is a billionaire.
Yeah, laba banenza bane Swaziland. Befika vele kutokudla. And when Swaziland dies, they're going to run back to Zambia.
That's what they're going to do. They're taking over because he married the sister, Lopoli.
So that's what they're going to do.
You know, they're going to Zambia. Actually, Swaziland belongs to Zambia.
What is happening? They are cleaning dry Swaziland, and when Swaziland is cleaned dry, they have a place to go. They're going to go to Zambia, and Swaziland will go under as a failed state. So they don't care.
Right.
Because listen, you cannot go to Zambia and do the same thing.
Indeed.
But Swaziland can foreigners to take advantage of the situation. You see?
Not only ile inyati construction uyinigete Shakantu phela inyati ngiyethengela timoto ngiyele nitamthengela lama-Mercedes bekawafuna.
No, akusiyo umuntu ohlakaniphile vele Makhosetive. Akusiyo umuntu otimisele.
And Shakantu uyamhleka. Do you know Shakantu is really laughing at this guy? He can transfer imali yaseswatini with the click of a button and so the other broke. And Mswati akakwati lokho wathi ukuthi yena Shakantu they are good buddies. He's on top of it. Banapolile. Well, we'll see. Monte, thank you so much. Maswati Lamashe, thank you. This was a very, very important discussion. And let me put in regards to Ipudemo Maswati. Ibutengini, Sesi, Tilaki, I buigi, you know, siya analyze, siya buga ngalana na Mr. Montengosi. But Iga Kulati, Ngilen City Asbute Lembuto and Pudemo, because Pudemo in Diwanjan. Should you guys get a new leadership or what? Because since you was good the way forward, Agubonagali Sugiwa, instead of Gali, Wabuliwa Bashaba, Funala, Nalana Kunya, Lazite, Nala Kuma Kauzen. So Maswati, let me put in Pendulile. Don't forget to like and to comment and to share and give us your opinion and give us more information about what we were discussing. This is our opinion, and Maswati Molly Jacob here, Hot Seat, Free Swaziland Movement. Good night.